Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Learning with Champions Series 2025. Today is session three. The topic for today's session is data visualization with Looker Studio. So, for everyone who's new with us and for everyone who's been a part of the last two sessions, a quick recap. We've already done two sessions. One was on Google Classroom. The other one was on advanced use of Google Sheets. Both of those sessions are now available on the same page where you register. You can also visit GEG Delhi NCR's YouTube page and find the two sessions there. I'm going to also drop it in the chat box here so that you have it handy. Right. So feel free to now view the two sessions done, with your pace, your time in hand, and I hope you take those learnings back with you in your classroom. Right. So I am Sonia. I'm EDO Impact Lead at Google for Education, and I'm based out of Gurgaon. And today's trainer, without using any further time, I want to introduce our trainer today because I know he has some amazing use cases to show and discuss. We have Tejeshwar today, Tejeshwar Chaudhary, who is General Manager at Learning Links Foundation. He's also a Google certified trainer and Google champion. Now, let me tell you something very interesting about Google champions. Just this morning, Tejeshwar's done a session on Google Sheets in a series that's being done in collaboration between NCRT and Google for Education. That's basics of Google Sheets, and I'll share the link here in the chat a little later. And now he's here, doing a session for us on Looker Studio. So this is what my amazing community of champions does. They come in with tons of energy and always ready to share and collaborate with each other. So thank you so much for that, Tejeshwar, and all yours. The session is all yours.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Happy to see all of you here. Good evening to everyone. Let me share my screen and then we can go from there. Just give me a second. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. All right, so today's goal is going to be Looker Studio fundamentals. So we'll start from very basic. If you've explored Looker Studio before, this session is for you. We will start with the basics, the fundamentals. We will look at how to do some integration with our data sources. We will look at some advanced visualization techniques if time permits us, and of course, interactive reporting and sharing of reports. Some of the powerful use cases, and I've been using Looker Studio for about 5+ years. I've used it to manage different programs across Learning Links Foundation and even in my previous organization. I've used Looker Studio with government agencies. For example, Rajasthan SCRT wanted to conduct a needs analysis for their teachers, 20,000 plus teachers across Rajasthan, and they wanted to quickly analyze this data. So we created a form on Google Forms and then linked directly that form, the data that we were collecting with Google Sheets through Looker Studio. And in real-time basis, we were able to monitor the needs analysis of all those teachers who were responding to the form. So that's how powerful it is. It's available to you, and anybody can right now go ahead, open up an account. If you have not explored, it's free. It's linked to your Google Workspace account, and you can start using it. Student performance dashboards is something that most of the educators, school leaders are looking to monitor, looking to assess, looking to build their plans based on that. So this is a wonderful tool, a very easy tool for you to start using this for that particular purpose. You can use it to do some curriculum insights, pinpoint where are the learning gaps based on the data that you're collecting. Of course, survey feedback analysis, all those different forms you are sending out to parents, to your teachers, to all your stakeholders. How do you want to analyze it, drill deeper into the data? Resource utilization, how to monitor all the different resources that you're using across your school system if you want your students to really get on board and use it, because it's so simple. I think students will love it if you haven't already explored or exposed your students to Google Looker Studio. Different research projects will require a lot of data collection and then the analysis of that data. This is a perfect tool for that. And because it's so easy to showcase it to everyone, the whole project report can also be created and made very interactive. And of course, parent communication, I already mentioned that. And why is it important? We have the data, but why is it important to visualize and present this data in a form that is easily readable and understandable? As you can see from this particular quote from 3M Research, 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual. And visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text. So just for example, this is a sheet of student responses and their performance across different months. There is very little for us to make sense from this. There are no insights that you can draw directly by looking at this data. But if you create visuals like this one on the right side here on your screen, this is created using Looker Studio, and so easy to understand what is the trend, what is going on for each grade, how is the student performance across different parameters, for example, attendance, assignments, formative assessments, summative assessments, how the scores are moving, how many the overall schools are participating, how many teachers are there, students are there. So easy to understand just from the small screenshot of a Looker Studio report. So that's how important visualization is right now. Let's go over what is Looker Studio. It's a tool by Google, and earlier it used to be called Google Data Studio. It's trusted by 10 million users, 60% less time on manual reporting, just to write down the different reports. And I used to actually create reports on Power BI earlier, 5 years back. And then when I discovered Looker Studio, I haven't really had the need for another tool to create dashboards. So that's how powerful it has been. And proven impact in education. For example, in Learning Links Foundation, one of our largest programs, the school program, which has about 3,000 to 5,000 schools and a lot of teachers and a lot of student learning data that is coming to us, is managed entirely. The whole program monitoring is Looker Studio. So the core capabilities of this platform, of course, are the real-time collaboration, data sharing that can happen. It's a cloud platform, easily accessible from anywhere as long as you have access to the internet. Very powerful, very different, lots of options in terms of data visualizations and a lot of data connections. And we will look at that also in further detail. It supports a lot of different kinds of data sources. So data sources means how data, where is it coming from that is populating your dashboards and visualizations. So a lot of third-party connectors are available. Google itself has provided a lot of inbuilt data sources, and I will go through these in more detail, further as we do more hands-on session. You can also upload your CSV files, but again, that data is going to be static. But if you really want to utilize the power of Looker Studio, if there is a Google sheet or a Google form that is directly filling data and you want to monitor it in real time, then linking it directly with, for example, a Google Sheet would be the best way to go forward. And of course, if you have data in databases on your database servers or on the cloud, you can also connect it directly. So a lot of different options, very flexible in terms of how your data can visualize your data. Another key advantage with Looker Studio is the native environment of Google Workspace. Everything is within Google Drive. Google Sheets can be connected very easily. You can again copy and paste all the visualizations within Google Docs and slides. And of course, there is Google Admin Console for more granular control of or the role-based access to your data. So just to recap, Looker Studio with all the features that I'm going to showcase to you today are free. So anybody can go ahead and start creating them right now. It's very easy to use compared to all the other tools that are out there in the market. I have not found anything much more easier and simpler to use compared to Looker Studio. It gives you the option to collaborate with multiple users, create the dashboard, and also, of course, to give access to people to view the dashboard and interact with it. So different levels of access and collaboration is possible. And of course, like I already mentioned, real-time data tracking is possible on Looker Studio. Let's look at the interface and navigation before we jump into a hands-on session. To access Looker Studio, you'll have to go to lookerstudio.google.com, right up here. And when you go to this page, you will see an interface similar to what you see here on the screen right now. You have a search part to search for different reports that you've created or data sources you've created. You have 3 buttons on top: Reports, Data Sources, and Explorer. Reports is where all your reports created will be visible to you. Data Sources is where all the data connections that you create, you will be having access to all those data sources there. We will focus more on reports and data sources for now. And on the left panel on the main menu, you will also be able to see your recent reports or the reports that have been shared with you or that are owned by you. You can filter those reports by these options. There are a lot of really nice templates available, and then you can explore in the template gallery. And of course, your own reports and data sources will be visible also on this. So this is the basic interface when you first go to lookerstudio.google.com. Further, when you go ahead and create a blank report or a data source, there is going to be a menu bar on top for a report that you will work on. There is going to be a toolbar for easy access to different controls and charts. There is an option for theme settings to easily apply different look and feel to your dashboards that you're creating, to make it really easy to browse and easy to access and interact with. And there are a lot of connectors available. 24 connectors, as you see here, are available directly by Google. And we will go ahead and explore the Google Sheets option. I have some sample data with me and some sample data dashboard that I've created, and we will try to go through that in the time that we have today. So there are 48 charts. Before we jump on to the live demo, I just want you to see all the charts that are available to you. You can, of course, have tables, scorecards, time series, especially if you have data that is time sensitive or you've collected data over a period of time and you want to view and analyze that data based on how it looks across the time period. Then time series is going to be a really useful graph for you. Of course, bar charts, pie charts are available, and very interesting Google Maps. And if you have geographical data with you and you want to do a comparison and see how that data looks across a map, this is going to be very useful for you, especially for us in the RTS program that I earlier mentioned at Learning Links Foundation. That program is running across 5 different states. And if I want to share that report with the donor, the funder of the program, it's very easy to click on the Google Maps chart and drill down further and see how that particular state is performing in terms of the metrics. Line charts, area charts, scatter plots, there are a lot of options available, as you can see here. Gauge charts can be used to track various targets that you may have. And because if you're monitoring the data on a real-time basis, the gauge will help you understand where you are in terms of the targets that you have set. And of course, funnel, if you're tracking some data and tracking it across different dimensions and metrics, to see how that data looks across different categories, a funnel chart might be very useful for you. And of course, pivot chart is also available to interact with it. And all of these charts are very interactive. Once you start clicking on them, very intuitive, how to filter, how to sort, how to change the look and feel. So the person that you're going to share these charts with will enjoy just playing with the data and drilling further down, depending on what capability that you have created. Another key advantage is the sharing and permissions. Now, as you create these dashboards, you can add collaborators. For example, in the screen, you can see I've got some editors that I've added, so multiple people can work and share insights on how the report is coming out. You can also schedule deliveries. So in terms of emails, sending out to your stakeholders who want to view the reports on a real-time basis, or regularly a weekly report or a monthly report, all those can be done. You can also generate PDF reports. So PDF reports of how your data is currently looking, even though it is static. But if that is something that you want, that can also be scheduled. You can embed your reports and dashboards directly into a Google site. So if you have a Google site and you want to showcase just certain aspects of your data with your stakeholders within your workspace environment, or even if Google site you want to share it with externally with your stakeholders, you can do that and embed some aspects of your dashboard within that. Like I said, email delivery is possible and embedding is possible. Now, before we jump onto a live demo, let's just take a look at the sequence generally that is followed when it comes to creating a dashboard. The first step is always going to be connecting to our data source. Where is the data being collected and how are we going to connect it with our dashboard? Connecting data through Looker Studio, defining the dimensions and metrics. So your data will have columns, and within the data, you will also have certain metrics, that means metrics is data on which you can do some calculation. So when we are connecting this data source, these are some things that we will have to define initially, and we will look at that also. Again, the next step would be then creating visuals, charts, and tables. We'll add those components to our chart, our dashboard. We will add interactivity. We will modify these components. We will make sure that they are the way we want them to look to our stakeholders who are going to view these dashboards. And of course, add some more design components and layouts so that it looks good. Now, quickly, let's jump onto the hands-on activity. And let's see. So this is the interface. When you first time go to lookerstudio.google.com, I already showed this to you. But before I jump into creating that, I just want to quickly show you one of the dashboards that I created for one of our programs. This is a program where we are monitoring 7 different schools in a state in India. This is an FLN, Foundational Literacy Numeracy program, and this is a dashboard that we use for monitoring that particular program. On top, you can see here there are certain controls. These are basically filters to filter out the different schools, and if I want to see data for only one particular school, I can do that. Similarly, grade and gender filters are available. English and math scores are there, and if I want to see, get an overview of how it is looking like, I can do that. I have a tracking here of how many students have been assessed so far. There is certain targets, total number of schools that have been assessed, again on a real-time basis, and average math levels and average English score levels on an overall basis. Overall student attendance for the assessments, school-wise attendance, and seeing how the attendance is happening, particularly for these assessments that are ongoing. Gender distribution across the program. How many students, the student strength that are part of this program across the schools. Grade distribution, only 3 grades I can see, grade 2, 3, and 4, since it's a foundational literacy numeracy program. And the literacy distribution, how many students are at what level in these particular grades in these schools. And a distribution like a normal curve of how many students are at what level. And then drilling down further into the literacy level and the numeracy level in a comparison of schools, in a comparison of grades, comparison gender-wise, and then more details. So if I want to filter into particular school, into particular gender, into particular grade, I can simply click on a chart, and this is how interactive it is. Every component on this chart modifies according to the component that I have clicked on. So that interactivity is there. And if I only want to see male students, by clicking on that chart, I am now getting a list of only male students across the program, and you can see the total number of students is 543 here. So that's the kind of interactivity you can build in, and you've got multiple pages as well. So for example, this is the baseline, then there is a midline result. And then if I want to do a comparison of baseline and midline, I've created another page, especially to understand how the data or the results compare across baseline and midline. So baseline scores compared to midline. I can add some explanation here, just quick insights on what this means. And so this is a report that I can then share with my funder or my board or my stakeholders so that they are able to hone into the key insights from this data. So just wanted to show this to you before we jump into building our own dashboard. So now that we are back on Looker Studio dashboard, how about we click on create first? And the place you're going to start is a data source. The first thing we're going to do is click on data source. And as you can see, there are plenty of connectors here, and partner connectors are also there. But for now, our focus is going to be on Google Sheets. So the moment I click on Google Sheets, you can see because it is already connected to my Google Workspace account, all my sheets are currently visible to me. And you can, of course, filter these sheets by sheets that are owned by me or some that are shared with me. So it's very easy for me to identify. And of course, if you remember the name, you can search for it as well. But since I just created this demo data Looker Studio sheet for our purposes now, I click on it, and then within that sheet, you may have multiple tabs or multiple worksheets. Currently, I just have one sheet in there, and I will go ahead and click on it. So this is the sheet that I want to choose. Next step would be to click on Connect over here on top right. Once you click on Connect, it's going to analyze your data, and all the columns that are in the data are going to be visible here. So for demo purposes, this is the sheet that I have just connected. This is my demo data Looker Studio sheet. And you can see there are columns. And these columns are also known as dimensions when it comes to Looker Studio. So these are the dimensions: name of student, gender, student ID. These are all different dimensions. So grade, school name. By the way, I have anonymized this data, but it is actual data that from our program that I just showed to you. We've got reading levels. We've got numeracy levels. We've got a response date on when this assessment was done. What was the attendance status of those students? Were they absent or present? And I have added some calculation also. So the columns here in yellow are further calculation. So you can add multiple columns now that this data has been collected. In this sheet, you can add multiple columns if there is certain more calculations that you want to do. For example, here I've just pulled out the level from the columns F and G. So English score is 4 out of 5, and math score is 4 out of 5 for this particular student. And similarly, you can see this formula just gives me a numerical data from the levels that I've captured in the sheet. This will help me further analyze and do some calculations on this data. So once your sheet is ready, your data is ready, and you've connected it to your data source. So this is where you are. You just verify whether all the columns, all the dimensions are visible here and properly mapped. Each dimension will also have a data type. You can just confirm here. For example, attendance is text type. English score is a number. It automatically identifies that this is a data number type. And the advantage of that is that there are some aggregations, some default functions, some calculation that you can apply to it. So by default, it is applying sum, but we will change it to average. So I think average is going to be more useful when it comes to score. Similarly, for math score, it has identified accurately that it's a number. We'll again change it to average by default. Response date has been accurately identified as date. Student ID has been inaccurately identified as date time. So this we can fix. Student ID is a number. So I'll just change it to number. And now this is looking fine. All my data fields, dimensions, and my data types are looking accurate. I can now go ahead and create report. So once this is okay, this is looking fine. And of course, we can always come back to it. It's not that once you're done, you cannot change it. But let's go ahead and create a report. Now, by default, when you create a report, it will automatically add a table into the report. And before that, we will have to, now this is a new feature that has just come up. Earlier, there used to be just a free form layout, but now they have also added a responsive layout. So this is a choice that you have to make. And why is this choice important? Because once you've selected this choice, you cannot go back because that impacts the layout of your screen. So you have to choose before you start working on it. And the way to identify which layout will work for you is if your end users or if your stakeholders who are going to be viewing this report, if they are going to view this report directly on a desktop or a laptop, then freeform layout, or if you're going to use this report for printing purposes, for example, a PDF, and then you want to print it or share it as a PDF, then a freeform layout, because then you have clearly mapped how your report is going to look like, it will be more useful for you. However, if that is not your purpose and your stakeholders are mostly going to view it from a mobile device, then the responsive layout is going to be more effective for you. So if your viewers are looking at it through a mobile, a tablet, or desktop, and that is important for you, then you choose a responsive layout. For our purpose for now, let's just choose freeform layout because it's easier to manage and we can fix the look and feel of our dashboard much more in control. By default, it adds a table. We can, of course, delete it, but let's just keep it there. Let's just look at the interface. There is a title on top. We can immediately just fix the title. Menu options are available. Bars are available to us. Theme and layout is there. And in addition to that, there are certain panels available to you on the right side. I will go through that also. Let's just quickly add a text field to give a name to our dashboard. So we will put a name here, demo dashboard. As you add this component to your chart, and all I did was clicked on it and placed it here. So all click and drag, that's how the interface works here. The moment you choose a component on your dashboard, you'll notice the panel on the right side has changed. So there is a text properties. It has correctly identified that the component that I've clicked on is a text component. And there are certain properties of the text component. So font sizes, font colors, and everything. I can now modify that. So my title should be a little big. It should be center aligned. Yeah, and then you can take a look at all the different options available, background colors, border colors, and everything. For now, let's just keep it simple. I want there to be a background to it. So I'll just give it a header kind of a component. So what I did is click on a shape here. And you've got multiple shapes. For now, I'll just choose rectangle. And now I will draw a rectangle as a background for my header here. All right, so the header is on top. And just like if you worked on a document, Word doc or a slide, you'll notice that your components can be moved in the order. So looks like my rectangle is right on top. So what I did is right clicked on that rectangle and I choose the option order and just send it to back. Okay, so now this is looking better. I've got a header on top. I've got demo dashboard as my title. And let's start adding some controls. Now in a report, because you want it to be interactive, controls are going to be really important for you. So before even I add charts and graphs and other components, data components, what I'll do is I'll draw some filters. So one of the controls is a drop-down field. I clicked on it, then I can go and place it anywhere. So I'll go ahead and place it here, and you can see these red lines that are showing up. They help you. These are guiding lines to help you align your components in the chart. Now, when you click on it, the chart component or the data control component is placed. Now, this is the filter. So if you click on it, for example, you can see these are, by default, it has chosen name of a student, which doesn't make sense for us. So we're going to change it. Now, each component, you'll notice the property on the right panel has changed. So the component property is here and the data panel property is here. If you are not able to see these two panels, on the very right side, there is data properties. So if you click, you can toggle them on and off by clicking on them. Okay. So let's go and configure this data control component or a filter that we've added. Within the chart or the drop-down list properties, you will notice there is style and setup tab. We will go into the setup tab. The data source is by default automatically connected. This is the data source that we had chosen. Control field is name of student. So what would be the field that you would want to filter your data on, right? So because you've got multiple schools, one would definitely be school name. So what I'll do is I'll just click on the fields or my dimensions here. I can click and drag it, and my control field, just drop it on that. So you can see the school name is here, and now when I click on it, all the schools are visible, and the number of students or the record count of all the students in those schools is easily visible. And now if I wanted to filter my report on any one of them, I could just click on only or do a multiple select, and only those particular schools will be visible. So what I'm doing is, even before I'm preparing my dashboard, I'm thinking that how will my users interact with my dashboard. So school name would be an important thing to do, to add as a filter in this report. I can then add another one. So before even do that, let's just change some style on it. So I click on the style. It's a drop down. You can again choose, make it a single select or a multiple select, but multiple selects makes much more sense here. Header color can be changed. Fonts can be changed. Tick box color can be changed. Paddings can be changed. Let's add a background color, so it looks a little different from other components. We will add a border color. We'll make a radius. Let's do some rounded borders. And if you don't want a border shadow, we will just uncheck that option. How about the text? I think the text needs to be bigger. So I'll just click here and make it, let's say 20. And within this, the text is small. So even if you want to change the list text, you can change it to, let's say, 16. Okay, so look, this is looking much better now. So the component has some formatting, and you can resize it also. So clicking on it, you can change it by clicking and dragging on the placeholders next to it. Now, another advantage, once you've created a component, we need more filters. So all you have to do is just right click on it, copy, and then paste it here. We will create some more controls. As you move and place it across, you can use the guiding lines to guide you. This time, let's go back into the setup for the second one. I want to filter by grade. So I'll go and click and drag and drop. So I've got another one ready. Nothing to do, just click on it. You can see the grades are there, and the number of students for each grade are there. Let's do another paste. How easy it is to just keep on adding more and placing them with the guiding. How about we add any filter for here? School name is there, gender is, no, let's add gender. Let's drag and drop gender. We've got gender. And how about scores? Let's add scores also. I will do another paste here. How about we do math score? Drag and drop it into the control field. And you can see the scores. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 scores possible. And these are how many students are there. Similarly, you can add another one. For now, let's just keep it simple. I'll just remove this table here. I'll go ahead and delete it. We will add more components here. So this is what it's looking like, my dashboard. And if you want to take a look at it, just go up and click on view. So the view option is how it is going to look like. So this is what it's coming to look like. The controls are there in my dashboard. Yeah. And then let's go back and edit it again. Now let's start adding some more graphical components. So I'll click on chart, and what I want to do is add a gauge bar. I want to track how the students, how many students have assessed based on my targets. So I'll add a gauge bar on top right here to quickly see how the progress is happening in terms of student assessments. Now this gauge bar has come here, but it's not looking like what I want. So I want the record count for sure. I want to see how many students have been assessed, but I want to add some targets. So I'll go into style here. Within style, you can just add a title here. And by right now, it's showing as record count. You can do an auto generate title, or you can just double click and just modify it. We'll just leave it for now. Scroll down to bar colors. There is a range color also, and you can add range also. So let's say we were supposed to assess about 1,300 students, and there are different targets that we wanted to monitor. I will just add a range color here. Let me see a little lighter color. Okay. And let's add some range. So maybe one range would be, let's say 500. I'll add another range as 1000. I'll add another range, and you can see how that the adding of ranges is modifying my gauge right now. So these are the ranges that I want to monitor, and maybe the last range is 1500. Okay. Now there is access title options are available if you want to add what is the minimum and what is the maximum. So in this case, I want to keep the maximum as 2000 because I'm not going to go beyond 2000. In fact, my target is about 1300, and I will show the target, and I will set the target value as 1300. The moment I do that, you'll notice there's a bar that is popping up here. So the black bar is showing that I have reached my target for now. But again, you have a gradient and you can monitor it on an ongoing basis. You can hide the metric name. So a lot of different options are available. Again, you can add a border color, or let's just add some border so that it's easier to view. And let's just see. All right, so now maximum is 2000. How about we reduce it to 1700? And there you go. So now on an ongoing basis, you can see how your assessment tracking is going on with your gauge bar. You can resize your component. And how about we add some scorecards? Now we also want to track how overall performance is going on in terms of the scores that are coming in. So what I'll do is I'll click and add a scorecard, click and drag where you want to place it. So total record count of how many students have been assessed is visible here. That is useful for me. How about I want to make it look similar to the component up here. So what I'll do is my controls, the blue color and the borders, what I'll do is I'll just copy that. I'll copy that and I'll right click and do a paste special of style only. What I'm doing is trying to copy that here so that I don't have to just go on and recreating the border, the shade and everything else. So record count is there. And if I want to change the title, record count to student count, student count. And resize it a little. Or if you don't want a title because the label is already there, that option is also visible to you. Okay, I'll just for now change that. Okay, so this these boxes. Let's just copy and paste. Very easy to copy and paste. Now I will do a, oh, something happened. Let's modify this to, here I want to add a math score. The primary domain is going to be a math score. Let's see. Some error. Let me just drag and drop a fresh one here. Okay. Instead of that, let's do a math score. And it automatically does a calculation of average on the math score. You can click on it here, edit. You can change the aggregate function to a different function. So there is a minimum, maximum, median. All those functions are available. Let's just copy and paste, create another one. And this time, change the function to median. So this is the median math score. And similarly, you can add scorecards for English also. So right on top, you can see there's just the quick important numbers are visible to your stakeholders. Now let's add more components to this chart. And as we scroll down, you'll notice I'm running out of space. So this space is not enough for me to add a whole bunch of other charts. What I'll do is I'll go to page up here, look at the current page settings. I'll go to style in the settings window. And here you can see there is a width and a height. So width is fine. What I need is I need more height for my chart. So what I'll do is I'll change this to 1500 instead of 9. And now I can scroll down and see I've got more space. So next, what I want to do is add a few more components that make sense for me. How about I add a timeline? Timeline is going to be a very important feature, especially if you're tracking data across time. So again, let's go and add a time series. Drop it here. Just resize it, and by default, it has automatically picked up a date. You can see across which dates, how many students have been assessed. It has automatically picked that up. Let's click on setup here and just make sure everything is okay. Record count is the metric, so how many students, and the dimension is your response date. So it has picked up those dimensions correctly. Now let's make it more interactive. I'll go ahead and click on style. And within style, you'll notice these options for cumulative, show point, step lines. So what will happen if I click on cumulative? You'll notice your data is getting aggregated now. So instead of showing those peaks on when those assessments happen, you can, on an ongoing basis, see how your numbers are stacking up across different dates. So this is a timeline, and we can add intervals, we can add reference lines to it. A lot of options are available. You can turn on the labels for different axes. You can show axis titles if you want, just by toggling these switches here. And if you want to change the name of those axes, you can do that as well. Let's add some more complexity to this timeline here. What I'll do is now add some drill downs. So what are drill downs? So let's say this data is being compared across dates right now, but I want to see the comparison across weeks and months. So the moment I turn on the option called drill down, automatically it has added a few more options here in the dimension: year, year, month, and response date. So by default, it is a response date. So when the chart opens up, response date is how it's showing up. I can now drill up to month and year, but let's say I want to go up by week. So instead of year, month here, I want to change it. So I just click on this pencil icon next to it, choose the display format or modify the data type. Within the data type, you will notice date and time is already chosen. And within date and time, I have to look for week. So choose the option ISO week. There is another option called ISO year week. So depending on how you want your data to be visible, let's just choose ISO week for now and click. Similarly, the year option should be the month option. So I'm going to again go back here, change this particular one to month. Done. Now you'll notice there is a up arrow and a down arrow available because I've added a drill down option. So if somebody wants to play with this data, drill it up to how it is looking like week wise, you can see for the whole year from week 1 to week 52, how is the data or the assessment data coming in. Similarly, if you want to further drill up, you can go to the month level. So June, how the data look, July, and then in August. So currently just 3 options are available to drill up and drill down. You can choose where you want your users to start with. So if your default option is going to be week, then you choose that option. And when you view your dashboard for the first time, you'll notice it starts with a default view of week. And then your users have options to drill up or drill down. So drilling down will take you to the day-wise report, drilling up to a week, drill up further to a month view. Depending on how your data is, you can do that. The moment you start playing around or interacting with the components, you'll notice there's a reset option also available right on top. That reset option is also available for the component you're playing around with. So reset will take you back to the default view option. Either click on this or you can choose the reset option on top. Let's go back and continue to edit our chart. So I'll move this up a little. Let's look at the next component that we would like to add. So what is the next thing that you want to see is how is the attendance going on? How about a pie chart? To see an overall view of the student attendance for these assessments. So I've added a pie chart, but it automatically picks up some other dimension. So I think I need to modify that. So the dimension I'm interested in for now is attendance. It's picked up response date. So I'll do a drag and drop, change it to attendance. And now you can see the options for present, absent, left the school, and TC is available. You can again change how the look and feel is going to be. If you want an inner radius, kind of like a donut chart, you can do that. You want a border radius, you can do that. Again, all different options are available. I won't go into the look and feel right now because that is something that I would recommend that you play around with. So I'll just leave it here for now and continue to add some more components that are going to add more sense. So how about this attendance across different schools? So I'll add a chart and because I want to do a comparison, I'll do a bar chart and I'm going to add schools. So right now it's just picked up different dimensions. So I want to see how the attendance is looking like across different schools. So the dimension is going to be school. So my school name is going to be the dimension. So I'll drop it here. Yep, all the schools are visible. I can just resize this here so I can see clearly the school names. Currently it's doing a calculation or a metric on record count. So it is showing me how many students have been assessed, in which school, the number of students assessed. But I also want to see the attendance. So I want to break this down. So the number of students is fine. I want to see the number of students, but I want to see a breakdown by attendance. So what I'll do is, there's an option here visible called breakdown dimension. What if I drag attendance into this particular region, whether it's going to give me a breakup by attendance. Now see, for each school, it's given me a bar chart with how many students are present, absent, left. Very nice. Now let's play around with it further. let's go to style and click on the option stacked bar. So instead of right next to it, now I can see everything stacked in one, clearly visible. If I want to show a total card, let's turn that on and see what happens. The moment I hover over it, I've got a lot more information here. So how many are present, absent, so the data labels are visible. If you want to turn on the data labels within the chart, they are also now visible. So a lot of options on how you want your chart to look like. We've done a bar chart with a breakdown dimension on attendance, and same overall view is available in a pie chart, but now school-wise attendance data is also available. This can further be worked on by doing 100% stacking if you really want to do a comparison of what is the percentage of presence and absence in all of these schools. So 100% stacking, you can do an equal comparison. So school 7, the present attendance is 78.75% compared to, let's say, school 6, where it is 84.49%. And how you want to arrange these charts, you can do that by going down into setup and sorting them based on whatever different options you want. If you want them to be based on ascending or descending order, and on which field or record count you want to do it, all that is possible. So a school-wise comparison is done. Again, I'm running out of space on my bar chart because there's so much more to show you. So what I'll do is again go back to page. I'll go to the current page settings and go to style, change this to 2500. Okay. Now that your chart is beginning to shape up, how would you share it with your team members or stakeholders? So then let's look at the share options. You can invite people. You can schedule delivery here. You can get a report link. You can embed the report, download the report. Again, will give you a PDF report. So all those options are visible. So if I just click on share with people, you can give people access within your domain. So for example, if I type my colleague's name, and I want her to be an editor on this particular report and I want to send a notification to her as well, I'll go ahead and do that. So now she's a co-collaborator with me on this particular report. So I've got two people. She's the editor. And anytime I want to revoke access, I can do that. You can make her an owner also and remove access also, viewer also. All those options are available. Currently, I am the owner. And let's say if I want to move on and I want to work on something else, so this is not my project, I can just make someone else the owner so that they can then manage this dashboard instead of me managing it. All those options are available. Now, how about sharing it with someone outside the organization? Because this is a public dashboard that I'm creating. I want this to be unlisted, which means that it cannot be searched on the internet or on Google, but it can be viewed by anyone. Or if you also want it to be, if it's a public report that you share or publish on a yearly basis, on a quarterly basis, and you want it to be publicly searchable, then you choose the option public. So depending on how you want it, you have the options. So for now, let's just keep it unlisted. Viewer access, and viewer can of course interact with all the data components here. You save it or you copy the link first and then save it. And this link that is available to you, you can just simply paste it anywhere on a new tab here, and your report or your dashboard is going to be accessible to anyone. Now, because I already have access to it as an editor and I'm the owner of it, it's showing me the edit button. But if you do not have access as an owner or an editor, this button will not be visible to you. So I can also what do is share this over chat. So later on, if you are looking to work on this, you can do that also. It's a little slow. I'll just maybe share it a little later with you. Let's go back to our demo. Let's go back. So now we've looked at sharing. Different options are available for collaborator, for viewers. All those options are there. How about we add some more sense to our data? Let's do a comparison of how the students are doing in terms of literacy and numeracy. Let's do a chart, a pie chart, add it here. Now this chart again needs to be modified. I'll click on it, go to setup, and this time I want to add numeracy level mathematics and see how it looks like. So the dimension is numeracy level. And now you can see division, subtraction, number recognition. What is the percentage of students at that level? Let me just increase the size a little so you are easily able to see this. But what you also notice that it has also shown me the select option. Now, why is there a select option even though it's not there? So you notice that currently in this data, there are a lot of students who are absent as well. So for all those absent students, it is showing the select option. That means they have not even selected or we have not entered their data. And which is also visible here when we look at our demo data. You can see here for numeracy level mathematics, select is option because this particular student is absent. So of course, there will be some options visible for that select also there. But what if I don't want them to see this select? How about we create a filter to only show students that are present? So what I'll do is I'll go to the page and it's a page-wise filter, or maybe right on top, how about we add a control for present and absent? So what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste, change this to attendance. So the control field is attendance. And then I give the option to my viewers to choose only the present students. And now the numbers are changing. You can see that there is no select option available here now. And you can see the attendance chart, the pie chart that was showing you attendance for present, absent, and other students is also only showing present students. So there's a filter that has been applied based on my control bar that I've placed. Let's say you don't want them to just see that. So is there a page filter we can apply without giving them access to? There is also an option for that. For that, if you go to page, current page settings, we will create a page-wise filter for the entire page. So add filter, create a filter. We will call it present attendance. We will include only students whose attendance contains present. And then you can add more options also depending on how complex a filter you want to create for the whole page. I'll click on save here. And there you go. You can see here a filter has been applied to the entire page without me selecting any of the attendance options. And that is something that the end user cannot change. So again, depending on how you want this report to be presented, and at any time, if you want to remove this filter from the page, you can come back here and click on it and it is removed. But that filter is still available to you. Anytime you want to come and add that filter, you'll notice there is a filter already created, present attendance. You can again click on it and bring it back to your page.
Thank you, Pirish. Good. Today was, of course, data visualization with Looker Studio. Our next session is on art of prompting with AI, which we are going to explore.